They say you can smell history in the Sierra foothills, a dry mineral scent of sun-baked soil and crushed grass that clings to your clothes long after you've left. That smell is home for me. After nearly 20 years in San Diego, lost in city planning meetings and traffic jams, I walked away. I packed my life into an old Ford truck, held together by duct tape and caffeine, and drove back to the only thing that ever mattered, my family's land. 300 acres of orchards, vineyards, walnut groves, and a crumbling house my grandfather built in 1924. Mackenzie land, passed down like a stubborn gene. When I arrived, the place was nearly swallowed by ivy and dust, but I tore into it with my own hands, rebuilt the walls, rewired the old circuits, polished every window, planted citrus trees next to the dying ones. Fixing the house meant fixing something broken inside me. The neighbors kept their distance, which suited me just fine. I wasn't there for company. I was there to keep the land alive for the next Mackenzie, whoever that might be. Then, after a call from my brother about clearing Mom's storage unit in Texas, I left. 13 days. That's all. When I drove back up the dirt path, cutting through the East Orchard, I knew something was wrong before I saw it. The orchards were untouched. My solar panels glinted in the sun, but then the stench of tar hit me. A fresh strip of asphalt cut across my land like a scar, leading to 5 nearly finished houses, oversized, sterile things, stucco walls and garage doors that didn't belong. I stopped my truck and stared. They weren't close to the boundary line. They were inside it. My walnut grove bulldozed, my grandfather's footpath paved over, and at the entrance stood a metal gate embossed with the words, Boulder Crest HOA, Private Community. Cameras blinked down at me, daring me to blink back. A man in a blazer came out, HOA badge on his chest. You can't be here. This is private property. I laughed, sharp and humorless. No, you can't be here. This is my land. He handed me a letter signed by Karen Rosewood, president of Boulder Crest. Official letterhead, HOA seal. According to them, the county approved zoning for residential development, and I was trespassing. My blood boiled. I have the deed, the survey maps. My family's buried 200 yards from where you're standing. Who gave you the right? He just shrugged, muttered something about legal disputes, and walked away while the gate hissed shut behind him. That night I sat on the porch, with a bottle of rye and my grandfather's Winchester leaning against the wall. Not because I planned to use it, but because it reminded me who the hell I was, and who they weren't. The next morning, a black SUV rolled up. Security stepped out, followed by a woman in a cream pantsuit carrying an envelope. Karen's emissary. She didn't cross the invisible line of my porch, just handed me the papers. Mr. Mackenzie, you have 72 hours to vacate. This zone is under HOA jurisdiction. I stared at her. This is my land. Not according to county permits, she replied coldly. You can dispute it with our legal office. Her security bristled, hands near their belts. I stepped closer, close enough to see her eyes flicker. You ever dug trenches under 100-degree sun? Rebuilt a house with your bare hands? This land is mine, and it will remain mine long after you're gone. She faltered for a breath before slipping back into her SUV. It's not personal, Mr. Mackenzie. It's just business. That was the moment I realized how far they were willing to go. I gathered everything: deeds, plats, tax receipts, my grandfather's patents. Mounted trail cams on my fences. And then I found it. My irrigation system sliced clean, rerouted to water their manicured lawns. They'd stolen my water. That's when the sheriff's SUVs rolled up, slow and steady. Deputy Ramirez approached. Report says you threatened residents with a firearm. I raised my empty hands. Closest thing to a weapon I've got is a screwdriver. Unless she's allergic to logic. He cracked a smile and checked my papers. According to county records, this land is yours, all of it. He advised me to call the sheriff next time. Behind him, I spotted her, Karen herself, arms folded behind oversized sunglasses, watching like she owned the horizon. By sundown, I'd received an email from her lawyers demanding I remove my fencing. I replied with a copy of my deed and a note that any further development might constitute trespassing and fraud. The next day, my drone footage of their construction chewing into my vineyard went viral. Suddenly, I wasn't just a grumpy farmer shouting at clouds. I was the man whose land was being stolen. That's when I called Abigail Lee, a real estate litigator who wore boots to court and smiled at cease and desist letters. Within an hour, she was on my porch, binder in hand. She uncovered the fraud fast. A shell company called Mackenzie Valley Estates LLC, fake deeds signed by a dead notary, an EIN registered to a mailbox in Reno. The county approved it because Boulder Crest HOA claimed community expansion rights. Bureaucratic word salad, but enough to push permits through. Cedar Core Development had bought the scam wholesale, building homes on land they never owned. Abigail didn't sugarcoat it. They'll try to wait you out. If someone moves into those houses, even one night, they'll argue possession rights. We need to stop this before it happens. Then came the party. They erected a white tent in the middle of my vineyard, strung lights between my trellises, and invited investors to sip wine on stolen soil. I filed for an emergency restraining order. The county shut it down before it began, deputies tearing down tents as Karen stormed in too late to stop it. She retaliated with emotion, claiming I'd abandoned the land, that it was dormant until her HOA revived it. The orchard I pruned, the citrus grove I planted, the vineyard I nursed back from dust, she called it dormant. She even accused me of emotional destabilization of prospective buyers. The hearing came fast. In court, Karen sat polished, flanked by lawyers. I sat in boots still caked with orchard mud. Abigail laid it all out. The fake LLC, the forged permits, the irrigation sabotage, the drone footage of their party. And then she dropped the smoking gun. Karen's own email, weeks before construction, writing, "If we push fast, we'll get grandfathered in." The judge's voice was low and cold. This isn't negligence. This borders on organized fraud. Permits revoked. Homes declared illegal. HOA placed under emergency audit. Karen indicted for fraud and forgery. Cedar Core scrambled to save face, claiming they were victims too. They paid me $2.3 million for damages and restoration. I watched those 5 houses fall one by one, bulldozers chewing them into rubble. Asphalt ripped out like a rotten tooth. Karen disappeared, bankrupt. The HOA dissolved, its members scattering like rats from a sinking ship. I didn't celebrate. I rebuilt, laid new irrigation lines, replanted orchards, restored the trenches that fed my grandfather's walnuts. And when the last beam of those cursed houses was hauled away, I put up a new sign carved in reclaimed wood. Welcome to Mackenzie Land. Private property since 1924. Not for Karen.